MTN News, this is Montana This Morning.
Good Wednesday morning. It's 6 o'clock. Welcome to Montana This Morning. I'm Victoria Hill. Thank you so much for getting your day started with us. And good morning to Miller on this very first day of fall. I see you're wearing your fall leaf tie.
Yes, you noticed, yeah.
I wish I would have worn my fall leaf dress.
Do you have one?
No, I don't.
Guess what you're getting for Christmas this year.
Yeah,
okay,
I can't wait to see what that looks like.
Well, it's officially summer still, but as we get into the afternoon, 1:21 local time, here comes fall. And it's going to be a beautiful day today. It's going to be warmer than average, but it's just going to be a gorgeous day. Get out there and enjoy it if you can. We'll cool down the next few days before we warm back up for the weekend. That is a waning gibbous, I keep saying cloud, waning gibbous moon. There are no clouds out there so you can see it. It's about 97, 98% illuminated. Just a beautiful shot there, courtesy of the Stockman Bank Weather Cam. 57 at the airport right now, humidity at 30%, winds out of southwest at about 14 miles an hour. Let's take some numbers from yesterday. High got up to about 73, pretty much on target where we should be. A little cooler than normal, got down to about 41. It was windy yesterday, top gust of 28. We'll see some more gust again today, and with that lower humidity, it won't be critical, but it will be an elevated fire risk today, so just keep that in mind. Of course, very dry yesterday, no rain in the forecast for the foreseeable future. Maybe by the middle part of next week for our area. Temperatures out there right now mainly in the 40s and 50s. You'll see a lot more 80s across the board today under mostly sunny skies and breezy conditions. High today of 83 here in the Magic City with lots of sunshine to get us there on this first day of fall coming up this afternoon.
And you know, fall and pumpkin spice just kind of goes hand in hand these days. Was pumpkin spice always a big deal? I feel like it wasn't.
My wife is a nut for it. So ever since I've known my wife, it has been a big deal.
Oh, okay. All right. So. Well, maybe it was just a new hit for me at a certain phase in life.
Oh, really? Just as you got older, that's when it kind of hit for you?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
yeah.
Right.
But anyways, the pumpkin spice products are kind of getting out of hand. And so we found a list of some of the newest pumpkin spice products. Let's take a look. We have pumpkin spice Pringles.
Ooh.
I don't think I'd try that.
Interesting. Okay.
Pumpkin spice soap on a rope. A little bit much. And we also have pumpkin spice deodorant.
Okay. Hey, yeah, you know, I'm digging all this stuff so far.
How about some toothpaste? Would you try some pumpkin spice toothpaste?
You know, I would. Yeah, not bad.
And some pumpkin spice hard seltzer.
I'm slogged right now having some of that stuff. No, I don't know if I'd do that or not. You know, would you do any of that stuff?
I would try one Pringle.
The Pringles? Okay.
Yeah, but right. There's a line. You kind of have to say, am I really enjoying this, or am I just being a little piggy? And so,
I mean, it's the favorite time of the year. Just go nuts.
Yeah. I'll have pumpkin pie for sure.
Okay, yeah, so I'm waiting for that homemade recipe and stuff for the apple pie too. So I took this question quickly to my Facebook page. What's your favorite time part of the season? Just quickly, Chalet likes the cool air, the leaves changing. Dorothy likes the fact that we're closer to winter. And Scott says, time to start making those homemade soups.
Mm-hmm. Love it. Yeah, all the above.
Looking forward to it. Put some pumpkin spice in it there too while you're at it, Scott.
No. All right, Miller.
Okay.
I'll get to news. Thanks. New this morning, guilty on all counts. That's the verdict in the trial of Lloyd Morris, the man involved in the death of Montana Sheriff's Deputy Mason Moore. Morris is now faces the possibility of several sentences of life in prison. Back in 2017, Lloyd Morris was driving when he and his son Marshall pulled alongside Deputy Moore near Three Forks. Marshall fired 12 shots through the patrol window, killing Moore. Jurors reached their verdict in about 2 hours. In Wyoming, a coroner has ruled the death of 23-year-old Gabby Petito a homicide. He did not reveal additional information about the manner of her death. This as a search is underway for her fiance, a person of interest in her death, Brian Laundrie. He told his family he was going for a hike in a Florida nature preserve last week, and he hasn't been seen since. The future of a proposed power plant in Laurel is now up in the air. Northwestern Energy will withdraw its request for approval from the Public Service Commission. The company says it does not mean the project is dead. They say they have decisions to make on the plant due to uncertainties in the construction market. Environmental groups have opposed the idea of a new natural gas power plant in Montana, claiming Northwestern is ignoring cheaper, cleaner energy sources. Montana National Guard members are now spread across the state, helping hospitals with the COVID-19 fight. Guard members have been helping in Billings since last week, but yesterday, Governor Greg Gianforte announced they're needed almost everywhere. 24 troops are helping in Missoula. Helena and Bozeman each have 10, and Butte has 6. Meanwhile, inside Billings Clinic, one patient is happy to be alive, but still recovering after being diagnosed with COVID-19. Q2's Janelle Slade shares his story.
I should have gotten a shot, but I was too stubborn and too stupid. I thought on the way here that I wasn't going to make it.
Adam Pazinski nearly waited too long.
And when the doctor said he had to intubate me, that scared the hell out of me.
Sedated and intubated, Pazinski teetered between life and death. A full week on the ventilator, 2 more in the ICU, and now he's going on his 2nd week in this hospital room. And although COVID-free, his battle isn't over.
The COVID tore me up. I have to learn how to walk again and move around. I'm too weak. I'm learning how to do a lot of things all over again. And I'm 57 years old, and that's tough.
Pazinski openly admits politics played a major role in his decision to not get vaccinated. But the fear of dying has him now pleading with others.
We all need to put our political and our own personal bias aside and get the shot.
I'm probably a little hopeless right now, in all honesty, because we're seeing a young population of patients being admitted who are critically ill, who we don't know if these people are going to go home and see their families again.
Director of Critical Care, Christy Baxter, says more than 90% of the patients hospitalized and in the ICU are unvaccinated. This pressure, as Billings Clinic this week moves into crisis care standards.
Our resources just can hardly be stretched thinner than they already are. And if we don't stop the spread in our community, I think we're going to have to start thinking about who is the priority to get the care.
More and more people are coming in. They only have so many staff.
Please think about getting vaccine to prevent yourself from having to be one of the patients that needs our ICU bed when we're overwhelmed and may not have one to give you.
Along with one patient's strong message.
Get the damn shot.
Thank you so much, Janelle. Pazinski is a retired corpsman with the Navy and the Air National Guard. He says he is very grateful and the care he's received is the best he's seen. A new study shows COVID-19 vaccine is safe for cancer patients. Results showed typical immune responses after getting 2 doses of the vaccine and had the same side effects as someone without cancer. The researchers behind the study say this is important since people with cancer were excluded from vaccine clinical trials. Another day of diplomacy is on tap for President Biden. This morning, he will convene a virtual coronavirus summit of world leaders with the goal of finding a consensus about how to stop the pandemic. CBS's Ian Lee has more.
President Biden called for cooperation during his address yesterday at UN General Assembly, part of his push to reestablish the U.S. as a leader on the world stage.
I stand here today for the first time in 20 years with the United States not at war. We've turned the page. We're opening a new era of relentless diplomacy.
As part of that new era, the president urged other wealthy nations to step up in the fight against the coronavirus.
We need to act now to get shots in arms as fast as possible and expand access to oxygen, tests, treatments to save lives around the world.
After the speech, the president returned to Washington for a sit-down with British Prime Minister Boris Johnson.
It's fantastic to see the United States really stepping up and showing a lead, a real lead.
Johnson also met with Vice President Kamala Harris on Tuesday. Today, she and the president will host a virtual pandemic summit from the White House. The summit has an ambitious goal: to develop a plan to vaccinate at least 70% of the world's population against COVID-19.
Bombs and bullets cannot defend against COVID-19 or its future variants. To fight this pandemic, we need a collective act of science and political will.
The coronavirus has claimed more than 4.7 million lives around the globe, including over 678,000 in the U.S. Ian Lee, CBS News.
The U.S. and China also made some bold promises in helping to lead the world in combating climate change. The president said he plans by 2024 to double the funds aimed at helping developed nations tackle climate change. China's leader promised his country would not build any new coal-fired power plants. In Yellowstone National Park, crews are searching for a missing man after finding his brother dead earlier this week. The body of 67-year-old Mark O'Neill from Washington was discovered on the east shore of Shoshone Lake. He was traveling with his half-brother, 74-year-old Kim Crumbo from Utah, who is still unaccounted for. Both O'Neill and Crumbo are National Park Service retirees, and Crumbo is a former Navy SEAL. The incident remains under investigation. Continuing our coverage, as 75 Afghan refugees prepare to make a new life in Montana, our state's lone Congressman Matt Rosendale is blasting the resettlement process. Rosendale says the mass evacuation of more than 100,000 refugees makes vetting them nearly impossible. The Republican congressman is alone in his opposition of refugees coming to our state. Governor Greg Gianforte and Senators Jon Tester and Steve Daines all support it. But for Rosendale, there's too much risk.
I think they should be using the exact 14-step, 18 to 24-month process that we use for the SIVs. Again, if we were using that extensive process for the people that were actually helping our troops, how can we use something less for people that were not helping our troops? It's dangerous. And the people of Montana elected me to represent the state, to protect our state, to protect our nation. And in good conscience, I can't sign off on bringing folks to our state that could pose a national security threat.
Due to the urgency to get people out of Afghanistan, the vetting process was sped up, but refugees are being vetted again at transfer stations throughout the U.S. before they are resettled in states across the country. Thousands of migrants, mostly Haitian, remain in worsening conditions in impromptu camps spanning the Rio Grande along the Texas-Mexico border. And while hundreds have been put on flights back to Haiti, there's word scores are being freed and allowed back into the U.S. CBS's Bradley Blackburn has more.
Migrants camped out at the U.S.-Mexico border are reportedly being released into the U.S. According to the Associated Press, they've been freed on a, quote, very large scale in recent days, according to one U.S. official who put the figure in the thousands. This comes in stark contrast to U.S. government claims that deportation flights are stepping up, with as many as 9 planes carrying migrants back to Haiti since Sunday.
Mr. President, what's your reaction to the images from the southern border? We will get it under control.
The Biden administration is facing criticism from the UN High Commissioner for Refugees, who called the mass expulsions inconsistent with international norms. More than 24 GOP governors have demanded a meeting with the White House about what they call a humanitarian crisis.
When you have an administration that has abandoned any pretense of securing the border and securing our sovereignty, you see the onrush of people.
Backlash also continues over this video showing Border Patrol agents on horseback aggressively dispersing migrants near the small border town of Del Rio, Texas.
I was horrified to see the images, and we look forward to learning the facts. We do not tolerate any mistreatment or abuse of a migrant, period.
Those Border Patrol agents have been placed on administrative duties while Homeland Security investigates. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News.
As for migrants being let into the U.S., the report indicates many have been released with notices to appear at an immigration office within 60 days. This requires less processing time from Border Patrol agents than ordering those migrants to appear in immigration court. There are new indications food prices could go even higher next year. Fertilizer prices are the highest they've been in about a decade, something that could mean smaller harvests and more expensive groceries. Fertilizer cost is the main driver behind overall food inflation. Experts say extreme weather, plant shutdowns, and government actions have all impacted the fertilizer market this year. Meanwhile, as prices rise and questions swirl about inflation, the Fed chairman will hold a press conference today. He's not expected to announce any major policy changes, but a new set of projections are expected to come out. Those projections will give the market a hint of when the Fed may start scaling back emergency monetary support. That includes slowing asset purchases and raising interest rates. Home construction is bouncing back. It did better than expected in August and went up by nearly 4%. Most of the increase was from apartment construction. Even with new buildings going up, economists say it's not enough and demand is still outweighing supply. Still, construction is expected to stay strong through the rest of 2021. Stick with us here on Montana This Morning.